Yeah, so this is it right here. This is the podcast that everybody's been waiting for. I know my wife's been waiting for. Tell all with the Thompsons. This is it. This is basically not my podcast, not my idea by any means.
Right.
Not that it's being forced on me. I'm definitely going to steal the show along the way. So I'll let Haley take over and kind of tell you a little bit about what's going on here.
Yeah, I definitely think that we have been talking about this for a really long time, and to see it like come to life and happen is really cool. Um, yeah, I think it's just been a long time in the making to finally sit down and talk about, things that have happened to us, our life, how we got started. And it's different than any social media platform that we have. So I'm really excited that we're doing this finally.
Right. I mean, how often do you hear a small town couple just telling everything that they've been through,
All of our secrets.
Yeah, all the little stuff, that people they want to know, they want to hear, they want to find out, that stuff that people have been asking about, people have been talking about. So that small town chatter type stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Really.
Yeah. I think so. And I think it's important also because it'll show a different outlook on our life and really kind of explain what we've been through, the things that we've done to get here, instead of just, posting something on Facebook or posting on Instagram, something that we've done or accomplished with life or family, stuff like that. So just to sit down and talk and, give people a different outlook on what our life's like.
Perspective's everything, man. Not everything's sunshine and rainbows around here.
Yeah, but I think sometimes people think that by what you post, you know what I'm saying? So,
well, yeah, I mean, everything we post is just gorgeous, Maybe we should start posting more of the real down and dirty behind the scenes.
We do. Have you seen the dirty cabinets that we posted? Those are awful.
And yeah, there's piss dripping off of them. There's cigarette smoke coming off sometimes. But I mean, just the the little headaches, the grimy stuff that we have to go through.
Yeah.
The no's that you get told, just all that type of stuff. Maybe we should start showing more of that type of stuff anyway.
No, that's why we're doing this, so we can talk about it, and give people that perspective of the dirty side of what we do, the tell all.
Yeah, it's going to be cool sitting down and being able to talk to each other. Letting people in on exactly what's going on.
What our day-to-day is like.
Yeah, on this little life of ours.
Yeah, this little life, this big life, I feel like. But so let's get into it, how we started, how Haley and Tyler came about. Because I feel like a lot of people don't know that side of it, because when we, started our business, we had already had kids, and it was kind of, they just had a different perspective. They didn't know that, we were high school sweethearts.
Yeah, let's take it back to high school.
Yeah. So we met.
The good old days.
Yeah. So when we met, I mean, I was 16 years old, and a junior, and I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. Didn't even think that I wanted to get married or have kids or anything like that.
You didn't know what you were going to wear in the next couple of hours.
That's very true. That's very true. So, and back to how we started, I remember we would, see each other in the hallways, and I was always like,
no, you were always staring. What do you mean seeing each other in the hallways?
I would not stare at you.
Yeah, that's the only reason I noticed, honestly, is because I'd look over and she just.
Okay, well, anyways, you were always like, just in my messages, like,
I was in her messages.
just let me take you out on a date. Let's see where it goes. Like, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that.
So the way it really went was, when we met each other at the football game, old girl sitting there, I said, no. Listen, come with me. Come sit over here. It's time for us to get to know each other.
You were like, you need to sit down and talk. You forced me.
It felt right. No, it felt right. It was cold. Okay. I needed somebody to love on. Okay. I needed a shoulder to lay on.
Right. Okay.
There
so
was no
how it
blankets
went.
out there. We were in the bleachers. Okay.
Yeah, it was freezing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, he's taking me away right now. And we're just going to talk.
It was
Like,
perfect. Honestly, it was, if I look back on it now, it was just super, super romantic. It was perfect. It was brilliant. Brilliant the way I
Yeah.
laid it out.
Truly.
I mean, look at it now.
Well, yeah, if you would have told me back then when you did that,
I executed perfectly.
That's what was going to happen, then yes, I'd be like, oh, that was super sweet. But at first I was like, oh, this kid's kind of weird. So anyways, and then I remember after we really got to start talking and know each other, then I was kind of like, okay, he's not all that bad. Like I could see myself.
I was a bad boy. I was a bad boy.
Yeah,
sure.
you were not picture perfect.
So
at
she
all.
got to know me a little bit more.
Yeah,
right?
more.
Right, we got to talk.
Exactly.
We got to know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, we can maybe make this work. We'll see what happens.
Well, we can maybe make this work. If not, I've got the other guys lined up. They're waiting on me. They're knocking on my door. They're in the DMs. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So, and then I remember the next day you were like, hey, I want to take you out to dinner, or you can come to my house.
Maybe Cheddar's. It was somewhere.
No, it was Ruby Tuesdays.
Oh, Ruby Tuesdays.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, they did have like a good salad.
And wings. Yeah.
Oh, they did have good
Yeah,
wings.
and I didn't want to eat in front of you, remember? And you were like, are you going to eat? And I was like, no, I'm not hungry. And you're like, I'm literally taking you on
you were the type though that you were just weird about, that
eating.
type of stuff. Like I don't want to eat in front of you. Like I don't want to like pick my nose in front of you.
No, but
you've grown out of that. I mean, I've definitely feel more comfortable.
Well,
picking your nose around me now.
I never do that actually.
My kids pick their nose in front of everybody, and I believe it's because of you. Anyway, we can go on for days.
Right.
Go on tangents.
And then when, we were together every day after that. After our first date, after that football game, after that first date, we were together every single day. After school, you would take me home with you, or you'd go to my house. I mean, we were together every single day. I don't think we were ever apart. So then after we graduated, we got our first place together. And that was a really big accomplishment because I was still only 17 when we did that. And when we got our first apartment, it was kind of like, okay, now we're really getting into it. Like,
dude, that place was sick. One bed, one bath.
I know, for $475. Oh, yeah. Could you imagine now?
Yeah.
Like, that was awesome.
No, we didn't realize
we didn't realize how good we had it then.
No, you never do.
Yeah.
That's why it's important to soak in the moment. Just like, starting this thing, it's kind of crazy. So
exactly. It's like full circle because I remember we'd sit on that couch in that tiny living room and we would have conversations just like this of what we wanted to do in the future.
Yeah.
And what we wanted to make happen.
Should have recorded all that.
I know.
Back then.
We weren't on it then.
No,
like we are now.
No, it's good.
But so first apartment, and we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. I mean, you were working construction,
breaking my back.
I was working at Sears, as a manager of a jewelry department. So we were just kind of like figuring things out together.
You were going through it.
We both were together. That's the beauty of it, I think, is that we really did grow up together.
You had weird old managers texting you like, hey, when you turn 18.
That was really weird, actually.
You were going through. That's where I was just like, she's done working. She's out.
Yeah, you were like, we've got to figure something else out. There has to be a different alternative to
housewife, barefoot and pregnant.
Yeah.
Period. That was the only route. So.
And that's the route we kind of took because then, right after.
I knew it. I had it all planned out.
Yeah, I think you did more so than I did.
From the moment I sat down with you on the bleachers at that football game, I had it all planned out. Believe it or not.
Really?
It's not bullshit.
Oh my gosh. So then after, getting our first place together at the apartment, and then we got engaged. So everything kind of happened for us pretty quickly, I would say.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, things
if you think about it.
Oh, things are moving by
because
rapidly.
We got married, got engaged, got married.
We did. I believe we did it all, in the right order, to my belief.
Well, I think
definitely
too,
very
people would
fast.
say that it happened quickly.
Of course,
You know what I'm saying?
people have crazy perspectives,
Yeah.
or different perspectives at that. For
No,
sure.
definitely. Because if you think about it, right after we got married, I mean, not even 2 months later, we were pregnant with Emberly, our first daughter. So,
Yeah.
and then let's talk about what happened in that time period, of us getting married. We got our first house together.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that was a big, big struggle for us because we had never, had a house
Right.
that we had to maintenance and do
Getting
all
out
of
of that apartment life, all the stuff we
exactly.
had to deal with, just an apartment living, having 2 dogs.
Yeah, exactly. So when we had our own house, though, that's when we got the idea of, okay, how are we going to furnish this place? Because an apartment, is only 600 square feet or less, honestly. It was a studio and we had no furniture.
Hey, solid wood furniture wasn't hard to come by.
Exactly.
Facebook Marketplace, you were on it.
Yeah.
And we'd go by and pick up the furniture. And they'd be like,
"You really want this?"
No, they'd be like, I just posted this. Like, how'd you see it so fast?
That is true.
But hey, my wife's on it, man.
So that's when we got the idea, though, of how we are going to furnish the place. Like, because we went to all these big box stores and we kept saying, there's no way that we can afford this. And I kept telling you, I'm not getting a credit card. I don't care if there's no interest for 5 years.
The stuff that you were having me drag in and tumble into the house or into the garage.
Yeah, it was kind of scary.
It looked like garbage, Haley.
Well, yeah, another man's trash was our treasure.
That's exactly the Facebook group that you were buying the furniture from. Another man's crap is another man's treasure.
Yeah, that is true. That was the site.
Yeah, right.
So
that was a good one. I wonder if it's still up.
It is still up. I was
You would know. See, you're on it.
Someone actually tagged me in it the other day, and I'm like,
wait a minute. Is that where you got this?
I'm like,
Don't tell me you got this from Lil Ricky.
No, actually
from
not.
Bobby Joe.
No.
Off of another man's crap.
No. But do you really think that, like, looking back now, the furniture that we had in our garage, we were like, what are we going to do with this? And that's when painting furniture and
what
stuff.
What am I going to do with this? What do you mean, what are we going to do with this?
Well,
you were like, Tyler, what are you going to do with this now that I just spent money on this, or I just, we
got
just spent money on this, and I just had you go drag it out of some man's upstairs apartment.
Yeah, that's true.
It was always something. And that's another thing, with buying this furniture, going and picking it up. We would drive hundreds of miles, Indianapolis, right? Or we'd go over to Illinois. Right?
Exactly.
As far as Nashville sometimes, just to go get furniture.
To furnish our house. Because it was a better alternative.
Right, at that point. Or it got to the point where, okay, we could start selling furniture now that we are good at refinishing the furniture.
Yeah, but backtrack to that, though, how we became good at refinishing the furniture. Because it didn't happen just, like snapping fingers.
Of course, but
we just had I had an idea. I said, look, I
showed
you my Pinterest. I showed you my Pinterest and I said, she made this dresser look like that. Can you do that? And you were like, I can try. So we went, we got a paintbrush.
You believed in me.
I did believe in you because I was like,
Apparently.
listen, we can make this work.
Yeah.
It's already here. We just have to go and get the supplies. So I remember finding out that I was pregnant and I was like, okay, now we've really got to get this house, in order. We've got to get it furnished. And we spent so many nights, I remember, just out in the garage, and I was showing you all these tips and tricks. I think we had YouTube going like 24/7 of how to turn this into that. And you got super passionate about it very quickly. Because you were always so artistic.
Yeah, I feel like I always do, it seems, once I start, doing something that I start to realize that I enjoy. I dive all the way in.
Exactly.
And it's always been that way.
Yeah.
Every job that I've had, up until
Well, you were working construction full
right.
time, and you'd
And
come home, and I'd
but
be like,
I'd put my whole heart into every little thing that I did. Like,
exactly.
I'd learn how to use a pneumatic jackhammer, 90
Yeah.
pound jack. And I loved
And then
it.
you'd come home and paint furniture for your wife.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what's funny is looking back now that we're actually talking about it again, and I'm reminiscing on all of it, you know, every day that you would come home, I would have a new project for you, and you were never like, oh, I just don't want to do that right now. Or,
Other than the chairs, other than the dining table
the
chairs.
dining table chairs, you were like, no,
I mean, hand
that
brushing
can wait.
those,
Yeah.
you know, because listen, we started with a brush and a roller.
Yeah.
Just like anybody would. You know, you think about painting this, painting that. I mean, we're not painting a car, right? We're not painting an airplane. So you pick up a brush and a roller. And that's exactly what we did. You know, we learned the hard way.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
people used to paint whole houses with a brush.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. I mean, we did it for years and years, but
so yeah, when it came to the chairs, yeah, it was tough. I was like,
but I'm saying like, you never told me, no, I'm not going to do this right now. If I asked you, and then after we got the whole house furnished, we started posting, you know, our transformations.
Yeah.
Just on my Facebook, I was like, hey, like we just did this.
But not only that, you know, we installed all the flooring in our house. We, you know, painted all the trim in our house, the walls, ceiling. We made everything look good in the house. And then we started to show exactly what, you know, the furniture
that we did together.
Exactly.
And I think it was pretty impressive, honestly, at
had
our
a farmhouse
age.
vibe, you know, on a lot of the stuff. Some stuff was like a Provençal and different
exactly.
looks that we didn't know.
We didn't know anything
doing.
about. Yeah. I wouldn't even know how to describe some of the furniture back then. I was just like, this is a really beautiful piece that, you know, we painted.
Some stuff was just thrown together and repurposed that just happened to look good at that time, right? It was
it was exactly what my Pinterest, you know, looked like. So I was so happy
throwing
with
an old headboard together
and making a bench.
A bench out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I loved that bench.
Stuff like that.
I honestly wish we still had some of the stuff.
Yeah, you had me doing the most, you know.
Yeah. But you learned a lot from that.
Yeah.
So then when we started posting the before and afters, that's when people were, you know, commenting and liking, and no one else was really doing it then. Like I said, it had just started becoming popular, I think, to paint like
furniture.
Yeah. So
chalk painting furniture.
Exactly. So
like
you
that.
never really, I mean, I didn't know anyone personally that did it. So when I posted it and we got so much interaction, I was shocked by that because I'm like, okay, they actually think what we're doing, you know, it's not all in our heads. Like we're not being, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like,
I don't know.
It's, you know, it's, they appreciate it as much as we do, you know, and they like it too. They would want it in their house. So when,
yes, I mean, yeah, if it was good enough for you, I guess it would be good enough for Joe Blow's wife too. So sure.
Yeah. I mean, so when we got messages and we were really nervous though. Do you remember when we just had random people messaging us? Like, you know, what you just said, like we didn't know some of these people that were messaging.
Especially when they'd show up to buy like a dining table and stuff out of our house. They'd be like, oh, I'm all the way from Evansville.
Exactly. We didn't know some of these people that were messaging us about the furniture that we had done or
nothing about them. They just messaged, say, hey, I can come pick it up right now.
Yeah. And I was like,
we had like 10 other people.
But we were also like, hey, these items really aren't for sale. We're just trying to showcase what we've done.
Yeah.
You know, and we had people that were offering us money for the items that we had done. And that's when you were like, wait a minute, you know, did we just start something by accident? Because we had no intentions of selling the furniture ever. I mean, I don't think we ever sat and had a conversation and said, okay, this could be a legitimate business. We were just thinking, okay, we need an alternative to furnish our house at a very, you know, cost effective.
Yeah. Very affordable.
That's not going to put us in a mountain of debt because we have a baby coming. Right. And
I didn't believe in racking up credit cards or getting
exactly that's what I'm saying.
Still hadn't even owned a house at that point. You know, we were just, you know, renting our first house.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just
so you know, back to what I was saying about the selling of the furniture, we didn't expect anyone to want to buy it. It was just, hey, this is a before and after. What do you guys think? Like, what are your thoughts? And then we had messages pouring in like, can I buy this? Or can you do this to my dresser? Or can you do this to my
We
nightstands?
probably ended up selling some of the stuff.
We did.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Oh,
mean,
sure,
because we
right?
sat down and we were like, okay, but what even is a fair price? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we sold our stuff that we had done for very, very cheap because, you know, we didn't know anything about the market or if there even was a market
Yeah.
for it. So
then surely you started looking around on Marketplace for, painted furniture.
well, yeah, and
or
everything was in, you know, like I was saying, no one was really doing it here, so I didn't have anything to compare it
Effingham,
to.
Illinois, or
Yeah,
something.
it was
Maybe bigger
just
cities.
outskirts, yeah, of people doing it.
Yeah.
Or, you know, people on YouTube would say this is how you market it. But we were just saying, "Oh, I mean, this could pay a bill if we sell this for
Yeah,
this
that's definitely how we looked at it.
Yeah.
Hey, if we do, a dresser a month, or if we do maybe
Exactly.
2 dressers a month, hey, we could pay some bills here.
Exactly. But it was never, you know, where we sat down and we were like, okay, this is going to be a business until we started actually interacting with the public and there was a need for it. There was a demand because everyone's like, hey, I've got this dresser. I love it. It just doesn't fit my style. I love what you guys are doing.
That's what made me really, fall in love with
Well,
what I was
exactly.
doing, with my hands, and, creating these different looks, these different styles
That we had
for-
never done before.
for, customers that were wanting certain looks or certain styles. It was super cool to actually customize it for each person.
Well, and that they
once
were
it got
actually
to that point.
contacting us to do that. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then it got to the point where I was like, okay, I can't post. I'm flooding my personal Facebook, you know, just flooding it with all these before and afters, because that's when we really started going heavy with it. We were like, okay, we've got her dresser. We've sold this piece.
Yeah. It made me feel really good, whenever the business started to form before our eyes. And
Exactly.
we
And we
started to make
didn't
money.
expect it.
We started to make money off of stuff that we were creating with our hands. And at that time, us doing it together
Yeah.
was just like something so special at such a young age.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So when we started it and then we started talking to family about it, because obviously they were seeing what we were doing on our personal Facebook. And I just remember when, you know, my grandpa came by, and because he lived, you know, next door at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember him coming by to see the house once it was all, you know, ready to go. And we were excited to show it off.
Oh yeah. Free meals with Jerry.
Yeah, those are the best.
Oh, those
are
good
good
old
times.
days for
Yeah.
sure.
So when he came over, and my Mimi too, and they were just like, wow. I mean, just to see it in person and that you guys did it together. A lot of people thought that we bought some of the stuff, you know, at an antique mall, or, you know, when we said, no, like, this is what we've been doing,
Yeah, I
you
remember
know.
that, yeah.
And he was like, wow. And we told them how, you know, people were contacting us to do their furniture. Our Mimi wanted stuff done,
Of course.
you know. And then it was like, my grandpa, I said, well, what would we even, if we had a business, what would we even call it? Like, what do you, how do you start? Like, where do we go from here? Because, you know, we want to do it legitimately. If we're going to do this, I want to be all in.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because we had a baby coming, and that's when my wheels really started turning, that, I mean, I could be a stay-at-home mom and we could make this happen, you know? And I remember him sitting there and he was like, old to new. That's what you're doing. You're making old things new. And I'm like, that is brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. I mean,
I'm over here thinking like Tyler's Red Truck Refinishing shop or something.
I remember you were like,
Jackleg name.
You were like, we can't name it after me. And I'm like, no, our dog is already named after you. I mean, our first dog was named Ty, and your name's Tyler. So
good old boy. He was a good old boy.
Yeah, he was. I just remember him saying old to new. And I'm like, old to new furniture. That's perfect. And that night I sat down and I'm like, okay, I've got to figure out how to make a Facebook page. And we made a Facebook page, and I invited all of our friends, And I think that we reached like 500 likes within a month. And it just, I remember sitting there and just being like, oh my gosh, like this is going to be big, I think.
I think at that point, we kind of like felt a sense of purpose in the world, instead of just like
Two young kids trying to figure it out.
Trying to make it, just trying to pay bills off of picking up furniture and flipping it.
Yeah.
I feel like.
And you still working full time.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a lot.
Me working for the man, just getting pushed around, told what to do constantly. And coming home every day, throwing the lunchbox down, kicking the work boots
and you're
off.
Like, oh.
What's for lunch, babe? Like,
yeah.
I mean,
what's for dinner?
What's for dinner, babe? Like, where's the beer at? Like, I've just had a long day. Like, I don't.
And then it was straight to the garage.
Yeah,
it was just.
I have to go work on whatever you want.
Exactly, and I think that's when you would turn the music on, and that was kind of like where it would calm you down. Honestly, I think it made you forget about how maybe stressful your day was or how bad your day was.
Just
and it helped us connect too, because we would just sit and I'd be like, this is what the client is envisioning. How are we going to make this happen?
Yeah.
And we would sit down, and that was just kind of our like alone time.
It gave for a good conversation, right? Us having to maybe troubleshoot on how are we going to make this happen? How are we going to provide this client with exactly what she's looking for?
Yeah, and when we were still trying to figure it out ourselves.
Exactly. And for them to put their trust into us, even at a young age.
Exactly.
Just based off of what they've seen.
Well,
right?
Do you remember when people would come too? And I think they kind of like when they would see us, because I mean, think about that. That was almost 8 years ago.
Right.
So when they would see us, they'd be like, are we at the right place? Like, are you guys the right people?
Hey,
you guys are the furniture kids?
Hey,
like,
your parents here? Are they in the back? I hear Sandra's going.
Yeah, they're like, the furniture kids. I mean, we were called the furniture kids for a really long time.
Well, I think until literally, I'd say a year after we changed the name from Old to New Furniture to Old to New Fine Finishes. Mm-hmm. We were still called
the furniture people.
Kids.
Furniture kids, the furniture people.
Yeah, a year until we changed the name.
Yeah. So when I look back on all of that, though, looking back at that time in our life and just how it got started is just so crazy when you really sit down and think about it. And I think that's what a lot of people don't know, because if they've just started following us or they didn't know us before the name change,
or if they just know us as the furniture kids.
Yeah. They don't know what all went into that.
Yeah.
Because we just started out, like you said, with a paintbrush and a roller and an idea for ourselves, not for other people. It was never intended to be us doing work for the public. Like we never thought of that.
Exactly.
Just like we never thought of a podcast until we were like, hey, we're sitting here and we're at dinner and I'm like, people might actually tune in to what we have to say if we just started, and here we are starting. But when I think about that also with the starting the furniture and all of the things that, we had in the garage, and when we had all the clients come and stuff, then it got to a point where we were like, okay, we can no longer work out of our garage. Like this is becoming way too much. I mean, we had people all of the time.
Well, first off, we had stuff stacked, right? We had dining table chairs stacked on top of each other. We had dressers stacked on top of each other. Dust everywhere, right?
Yeah.
No dust containment, right?
No, we had no idea.
Spray booth set up. And, to have people come to our house first off, whenever we're trying to run a legitimate business in their eyes.
Yeah, exactly. It just
wasn't so.
Exactly.
Right.
And we were like, okay, we're definitely going to
have to. We knew better.
Yeah, we even knew better then.
Right.
That we were like, okay, this can only go on for so long until we're going to have to level up.
Yeah.
But also leveling up came with, okay, the expense side of it. Because, we didn't prepare ourselves for running a business and all that went into it. We were just doing it for fun at that point. So I think, a big test to our relationship also in the beginning was, okay, we just got married. We're I'm pregnant. We're about to have our first baby. We're trying to grow this business that is now also our baby, and I don't think that we expected it to go from, okay, we're just doing furniture for ourselves, and then now we're doing it for the public, and now it's at such a high demand that we were turning people away.
Bro, we were riding the wave.
Yeah,
right?
It was so, thinking about it, I mean, because it was like, wow, it was a lot to take in at that point.
It always is. I mean,
the phone did not stop ringing for furniture. And then it was kind of like, okay, navigating how to deal with clientele, or because we'd never done it before. We'd never dealt with the public. I mean, like I said, you were working construction and I was still working at Sears, and we had customer service skills, obviously, from those jobs and working with other people, but we never really had like the business mindset of like, okay, how we have to do this, and this, follow it by the book.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm out here trying to think that I'm going to climb some, not corporate ladder, but literally some construction ladder and gain my way to be a general.
Exactly. That's what you thought still at that point. A
construction manager or something,
Exactly. That's what we thought at that point. We were like, okay, how are we going to balance this business that kind of just started and it's growing so rapidly that how are we going to, navigate you working, me about to have a baby, trying to build this business up. I think that, that was the ugly side of it, honestly, because it was really stressful when we were like trying to navigate the waters of building the business.
Yeah.
Back to what I was saying with when you were working construction and trying to do the, work the corporate ladder and grow there.
Yeah. Labor in the union. I mean, literally the toughest trade that you could possibly be in. When you're a laborer, you're doing everything
for long, long hours.
Right.
But it was really good money and it was steady.
At the time, it was the best.
The best pay that you could get.
Yeah, the best.
As an apprentice, sure. It was the best.
But the grass was always greener on the other side is what my mindset always was.
Well, I remember when we sat down though at the kitchen table after I think you had like a really bad day. I mean, it was a pretty bad day. Just
plenty
working.
of them almost every day.
Yeah, exactly. But this one, you were just so frustrated and it was freezing cold.
Yeah. And
you were like, honestly, could we make this work if I were to leave that position and do furniture full time?
Right.
And
we had that conversation many times.
I know, but this was the conversation, the end all, where you were like, okay, we're going to have to make the decision because you can't keep doing both.
Right. Yeah, there was no way. Breaking my back for 10 to 14 hours a day in the cold, laying concrete,
and then now providing a service to the public.
Yeah, trying to come home and make ends meet.
Exactly. So we were like, what are we going to do? He thinks he's better than me at this. And I had the idea. So I kind of was like, I'm going to master this, or at least try to. But I really wasn't hands-on, as obviously with the baby.
I just wanted to let them know, right from the bottom of my heart, I want to let you know, Haley is the one that has basically thought of this all. She's dreamt every little thing, every little detail up, and she's the one that converses back and forth with the clients.
Well,
right?
I just didn't
She handles everything, right? Thank God that I just so happen to be good at manipulating these coatings and making them nice and buttery smooth. I mean, that's all I've got going for me at this point. And making babies, honestly.
Yeah, well,
those two things.
So